All right, let's talk about one of Anatolia's most enduring cities. We're going to explore a place whose story isn't just found in history books. No, its story is literally written in the layers of earth under your feet, and you can track it in the fascinating way its name has changed over thousands of years. So, where do you even start with a 9,000-year history? Well, it all begins with a single word: Melid. It's the Hittite word for honey. Just think about that. It tells you exactly how the first people saw this land, as a place of sweetness and incredible abundance. It's a name that makes a promise right from the very beginning.
So yeah, let's dig right into that identity, the city of honey. This whole early chapter of its story is completely wrapped up in its geography, its natural wealth, and the very first farming communities that decided to call this place home. And get this, it wasn't just the ancient Hittites who were impressed. Centuries later, the famous geographer Strabo basically said the same thing. He described it as a place with no equal. I mean, that's some seriously high praise, right? It tells you this place's reputation for being a kind of paradise was legendary, even in the Roman world. Okay, now we're going to move to the archaeological heart of ancient Malatya, a place called Arslantepe Mound. And what was uncovered here is absolutely mind-blowing. It didn't just tell us about one city, it fundamentally changed our understanding of how the world's first complex societies ever got started. To really get how deep this history goes, we have to wind the clock way, way back to 7000 BC. That's 9,000 years ago. This is the moment we see the first evidence of people moving out of caves, building villages, and starting to farm and raise animals, right here on this plain. And just look at the stuff they found here: a palace, a temple, the world's first known statues, and even high-tech metal swords. But, and this is the crucial part, look at those clay seal impressions. Over 2,000 of them. They might not sound as exciting as a sword, but trust me, they are the key to this whole story. They're the building blocks of a true civilization. So here's the big reveal. Arslantepe wasn't just a big town. It was the birthplace of the state as we know it. All those thousands of seals, that's your proof. That's a system for controlling goods, for keeping records, for managing an economy. It's bureaucracy, I know. It's not the sexiest word, but this is literally the world's first government in action, born right here. Now, when you have a place that's this rich and this important, what happens? Everybody wants a piece of it. For the next few thousand years, Arslantepe became a prize that was fought over by one empire after another. And every time a new power took over, they left their mark by giving the city a new name. This chart just lays it out so perfectly. You can literally track the conquerors just by watching the name change. The Hittites called it Malatya, then the Assyrians show up, it becomes Melidu. Then the Romans and Byzantines, it's Meliditine. The Arab caliphates, Malatya. It's like the city's passport is getting stamped by every great power of the ancient world. Then, during the Roman era, something really dramatic happens. The city itself moves. The Romans needed a big military base for their fearsome thundering legion. So what did they do? They just built a brand new city about 4 kilometers away and called it Melitene. And with that, the ancient sacred heart of Arslantepe slowly began to fade away. All right, let's hit the fast forward button, and I mean really fast forward, almost 2,000 years into the Ottoman period. Because this is a truly bizarre story about how the modern city of Malatya came to be, not by some grand design, but completely by accident. You gotta hear this. The year is 1838. An Ottoman army commander shows up and needs a place for his soldiers to stay for the winter, so he just kicks all the locals out of their houses. The people had to go somewhere, so they moved to their summer homes out in the vineyards. But here's the crazy part. When the army left, the people just never moved back. That so-called temporary camp in the vineyards just kept growing, and it became the modern city of Malatya. Okay, so let's wrap this up by bringing the story into the 20th century. You have to wonder, how does a city with this much history find its place in the modern world? Well, it turns out, even after thousands of years, Malatya still had a huge part to play in the birth of modern Turkey. And this was its biggest moment, the Ali Galip incident in 1919. The old government in Istanbul had a plot to arrest Mustafa Kemal Ataturk, the leader of the Turkish independence movement. The whole thing was supposed to go down in Malatya, but the local leaders there caught wind of it, foiled the plan, and protected Ataturk. They basically saved the revolution. So when you put it all together, the big takeaway is this: Malatya isn't just a dot on a map. It's a living document of Anatolian history.
Its story is one of incredible resilience and transformation, from an ancient little settlement named for honey all the way to a vital city in a modern nation. And that just leaves us with a final question, doesn't it? I mean, this is a city that watched bureaucracy get invented. It saw the rise and fall of the Hittites, the Assyrians, the Romans, the Ottomans. After 9,000 years of constant reinvention, you just have to wonder, what could possibly be next for the City of Honey?